Hello everyone, I'm Eriris. Today I'm going to talk about Detective Conan. I'll be analyzing Detective Conan's 1100th, 1101th and 1102th manga chapters today. First, let's quickly recap the happenings in these three chapters. Today, I will mention the happenings in these three chapters in the chronological order that they occurred. I think that by doing this, things will be simpler to understand. Kaito Kid sends Suzuki Jirakuchi a warning note, stating that he will steal the world's largest tourmaline at 9 p.m. tonight. Kid then disguises himself as a police officer and adds sodium bicarbonate to the ketchup. When Ando and the two experts go to eat their sandwiches, Kid gives them this ketchup. Ketchup splashes everywhere when Ando tries to add it to her sandwich. Ketchup is splashed on by the two experts, Ando, and even Azusa, who brings the sandwiches. To clean the ketchup from them, two experts use the toilet. Kid disguises himself as Kono from the experts going to the toilet and goes to the exhibition hall. He pretended to control the crown, painting some of crown black to match the fabric inside the showcase. Then 9 p.m., he appeared. He turned the crown to the other side with one hand while hiding the front with the other. He placed one hand inside the showcase without touching the crown in an attempt to prove to everyone that crown was not there. Just as the kid is about to leave the exhibition hall, Conan stops him. Kaito Kid shows patterns. He removes the crown from the showcase using a rope. He starts to pass Fuji no Michi while leaning in. As soon as the crown is moved, the countdown starts at 3. On his skateboard, Conan pursues the kid. Before the doors close, they both leave Fuji no Michi. Azusa is on the phone with Amuro while in the elevator. Kid goes into the elevator where Azusa is. Azusa's phone falls on the ground. Conan looks through the haze for the kid. Conan sees two Azusa as soon as he enters the elevator. The elevator starts to go down. Conan is looking at the two Azusa with his watch. Conan considers using a needle in his watch to put one to sleep and hitting the other with a ball. But the wrong person might hit the ball. At this moment, we hear Amuro's voice on the phone. "I heard a strange sound, did you do something?" Amuro's voice can be heard on the phone by Conan. Conan asks Amuro about how to separate Azusa from the kid. Amuro tells Conan to put the phone on speaker. "I love you, Azusa San." The two Azusas react in different ways. Conan finds who Azusa is thanks to Amuro. The elevator stops at exactly that moment when the smoke bomb detonates. The kid leaves the crown behind as he flees. These were the parts in the chapters that dealt with the kid. If you want to learn more about how the kid stole the crown and how Conan stopped him, you may read the manga chapters or watch my videos where I discuss it in detail. But these episodes also had great developments in the main plot arc. I want to talk a little about these. First of all, I'd like to discuss the conversation between Conan and Wakita. Wakita had come to the building to deliver sushi. Wakita then encounters the trio of Conan, Ran, and Sonoko. Conan and Wakita had the following conversation. "Rumi Wakasa is Conan's assistant homeroom teacher, right?" "Yes." "Is there anything unusual about that teacher?" "Why are you asking me that?" "You see, I went to deliver sushi to T-Tan Elementary School last time, and while leaving, I felt some kind of gaze, and when I looked back that Wakasa teacher was glaring in my direction with the look of a demon, that's why I wondered if there was something." "Whoa, she is just a normal teacher, right?" "She is a little clumsy, though." "Is that so?" Conan remembers the end of chapter 1099 during this conversation. We talked about it in the comments, but I think Wakita is the most likely ROM for Conan right now. In chapter 1090 of the manga, Conan learns that Kuroda works for public security. From the beginning, Eriris says she likes Wakasa. Even though Conan doesn't trust Wakasa, he has to at least think that Wakasa won't hurt the kids because he witnessed Wakasa's protection of kids in manga chapter 1099. I think that as a result of this conversation, Conan's doubts regarding Wakita grew. Not only does Conan have doubts about Wakita, but Wakita also seems to have doubts about Wakasa. The organization might take action for Wakasa in the upcoming chapters. Wakita's thoughts after this speech were very intriguing. After reading this section, I thought we would definitely learn what happened to Wakita's eye. Unfortunately, we were sadly unable to learn. It seems we will have to wait for the upcoming episodes. Bourbon comes to mind when I think about the organization. How do you think about the duo of Amuro and Azusa? Do you think that they'll start dating following this chapter? In chapter 1027 of the manga, Wakita mentioned that he hated betrayal, like traders selling some old fish in a high price while they were on the train. Wakita mentioned this when Amuro was nearby. People begin to wonder if Wakita has doubts about Amuro as a result of this. If Amuro and Azusa have a relationship in the future, I think the organization will use it against Amuro. Do you think they'd actually use it against Amuro? The part of the manga's chapter 1102 that deals with the elderly man was perhaps the most interesting. If we don't discuss it, that's not acceptable. At the end of chapter 1102, Conan's news is shown on a phone on the other panel. Victory over the kid is the headline of the article. On the following page, a mysterious elderly man is breaking the phone with his cane. Candidates for Karasuma are beginning to emerge slowly. In most cases, there are 3 suspects, but since this person is the boss, we may see more suspects. Considering how quickly the suspects began to appear, I believe there will be more than 3 suspects. The elderly man we saw in chapter 1096 most likely has a connection to the organization, in my opinion. But this elderly man, I'm not so sure. He might be angry at the kid rather than Conan, in my opinion. There was a comment in the comments section of my previous video that this old man could be Hakuba Shuguru's grandfather. This is something I honestly believe might happen. The reason the elderly man became angry may be that Conan caught the kid while Hakuba was unable to. The main factor that makes me believe this is that one of the 3 suspects that Aoyama reveals is unrelated to the organization. For instance, the ROM arc had 3 suspects. Wakita, Wakasa, and Kuroda are these. Although we are unsure of Wakasa's specific relationship to the organization, since the Hybris sensor works, there is undoubtedly some kind of connection. Wakita was a real ROM. Kuroda is a police officer and has no connection with the organization. Something similar happened in the Bourbon arc. The Bourbon arc had 3 suspects. Amuro, Okiya Subaru, and Sarah Masumi were those people. Okiya Subaru was an FBI agent, but he had previously infiltrated the organization, therefore he had a connection with the organization as a former member, whereas Sarah Masumi was not connected with the organization. Amuro was the real Bourbon. If this elderly man is truly Hakuba's grandfather, I believe we'll see more about Kaito Kid in the coming episodes. So, were the happenings that Kid was involved in during the last several chapters a plot twist? I won't go into detail about this topic here because I will do a more detailed video. But I'm curious about your opinions. Please share your views with me in the comments. That's it for today. Thanks for watching the video till the end.